morning, everyone. Today's reading from Matthew's Gospel is one of Jesus' parables. It tells a tale about a landowner and his servants using hyperbole to coax us into learning the moral of the story, much like the fables we once studied in grade school. The parable of the talents. For it is as if a man, going on a journey, summoned his slaves and entrusted his property to them. To one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, to another 1, to each according to his ability. Then he went away. The one who had received the 5 talents went off at once and traded with them and made 5 more talents. In the same way, the one who had the 2 talents made 2 more talents. But the one who had received the 1 talent went off and dug a hole in the ground and hid his master's money. After a long time, the master of those slaves came and settled accounts with them. Then the one who had received the 5 talents came forward, bringing 5 more talents, saying, Master, you handed over to me 5 talents. See, I have made 5 more talents. His master said to him, Well done, good and trustworthy slave. You have been trustworthy in a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Enter into the joy of your master. And the one with the 2 talents also came forward, saying, Master, you have handed over to me 2 talents. See, I have made 2 more talents. His master said to him, Well done, good and trustworthy slave. You have been trustworthy in a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Enter into the joy of your master. Then the one who had received the 1 talent also came forward, saying, Master, I knew that you were a harsh man, reaping where you did not sow and gathering where you did not scatter seed. So I was afraid, and I went and hid your talent in the ground. Here you have what is yours. But his master replied, You wicked and lazy slave. You knew, did you, that I reap where I did not sow and gather where I did not scatter? Then you ought to have invested my money with the bankers, and on my return I would have received what was mine with interest. So take the talent from him and give it to the one with the 10 talents. For to all those who have, more will be given, and they will have an abundance. But from those who have nothing, even what they have will be taken away. As for this worthless slave, throw him into the outer darkness, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? Well, this is quite a story, isn't it? We feel sorry for that frightened fellow who buried his 1 talent, which in Jesus' day would have been a quantity of silver, rather than investing it for profit, and his master was not pleased. Where do you and I find ourselves in this parable as we try to make application to our lives today? The restrictions that have descended upon us with COVID have abruptly curtailed our usual ways of expressing our gifts in the church and in the world, haven't they? A spirituality of productivity doesn't work very well in our present circumstances. As I pondered this story, I came to see how all 3 of the servants could represent distinct phases of a single lifetime, mine and perhaps yours. Have there not been 5 and 2 talent seasons of profitable activity in your life, during which significance and success could be derived from your work, church involvements and community service, your busy family life, and high energy endeavors? There was always something to show for our expended efforts. Then perhaps there came some reversals in the life plan, illness, or job loss, or other difficulties. Aging certainly comes with its unique challenges too, doesn't it? When we are no longer as energetic as we once were, do we look back longingly to earlier days with their culturally celebrated measurements of value and meaning? Do we resign ourselves to settle down and just let the rest of the world go by, feeling that we are too old, too insignificant to be a presence or to have a voice? Could this be a way in which we are tempted to mirror that 3rd servant who fearfully buried his 1 small talent? To have something leave us may not be the obstacle we think it is. It could be an invitation to seek that something else that God has his fingerprints all over. Might we attune our hearts to listen to God's voice in the present moment, to allow the Spirit to move our souls afresh and to renew our fidelity to Christ who calls each of us in every single season of our lives. While traveling in Ireland, we stumbled across an ancient symbolic word which was described to us by a local resident. Its meaning was further explained by Joan Chittister, whose book I found in a used bookstore there. The word is grishog, which refers to the practice of covering the warm embers at day's end in ashes from the hearth in order to make it easy to restart the fire in the morning. We were told about an Irish tradition of carrying live coals from the parental fire into the home of their newly married children to symbolically pass the blessing of life on to them. It is a holy process, this preservation of purpose, of energy, of warmth and light to dispel the darkness, says this author, and she further warns us that those who cease to live begin to die. This wood-turned candle holder, which you see beside me here, was made by my husband, and we named it grishog. It sits on our dining table to remind us of this rich discovery. How do we rekindle the flame of hope during times of uncertainty or limitation or suffering? Might we see the very things we would never choose as if they are gifts entrusted to us, and then practice the kind of stewardship that believes the truth that there is nothing beyond God's ability to use for good? Can we give ourselves to prayer and holy reading, to risk reaching out to others in the ways we are able to? Is there a commitment to sharing the wild and wonderful gospel message and a determination to be what I say? And when the time comes, might I be gracious in receiving help from others, in offering up even my own vulnerability? Henry Nouwen says that life at every stage must be seen not as a possession to cling to, but as a gift to be shared. Stillness and insight and compassion can thrive even as experiences of life pain and weakness continue. Another writer, Rob DeCote, encourages us to stay small and slow rather than driving a more frenetic pace than is true of God's calling for us. Small, in the direction of the mustard seed which bears the greatest fruit. Slow, in the direction of stillness that truly knows God. Small, the fruit of humility, and slow, the fruit of tranquil and trusting faith. We can offer ourselves just as we are, asking God to show us what He is able to do with our one small talent. I close with a few lines from Mary Oliver. I don't know exactly what prayer is. I do know how to pay attention, how to fall down into the grass, how to kneel down in the grass, how to be idle and blessed, how to stroll through the fields, which I have been doing all day. Tell me, what else should I have done? Doesn't everything die at last, and too soon? Tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life?